He's a movie actor, movie producer, public speaker, and educational consultant. With 9 years on screen and 12 years on stage experience, he lived over senior secondary school class 2 and 3 for university campus, and like many, got exposed to the unfamiliar at the age of 14. I had that experience too. One of his parents of sweet memories disliked choice of drama studies instead of supposedly lucrative accounting profession. So with an accounting degree from the University of Adenuga, an ICANN certification, he embraced his darlings, which are the stage and the movies, and fate has been in love with him ever since. He has featured in Married but Living Single, Cracking the Wall, Tinsel, Shadows, Little Eyes, Omo Ghetto the Saga, PWD, Nectar, and most importantly, Funke, Akindele's Jenifa's Diary, a production that took him riding off for stardom. He also acted in one of Adenuga's first story, Among My Siblings and I, as Stanley Aberuagba, Battle Within as Kunle and Royal Outlaw as Prince Adeoye, BABASEUN FASERU, aka Amani. Welcome on the 2021 edition or second edition of FILMTALK from FilmLab Nigeria, powered by We Entertainment Lagos. Let's focus today more on essential acting and storytelling, whether on stage or on screen. So you're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So my very first question would be why were you nominated and awarded City People of the Year 2019 for Best New English Actor?
Okay, very quickly. First thing, I wouldn't know per se because it was done out of votes. You know, it was done out of votes, and I want to believe that 2019 probably was a year where I had too many of my work come for people to see. So I guess it was a time that I got a bit of acknowledgement. Let's put it that way. You understand what I'm saying? Because I did my own movie PWD 2018. Eventually, which was at least released 2019. My siblings and I was something I was showing every time. I had the opportunity to feature in Royal Outlaw, which was done same year as well. I had an opportunity to do Ronaldo that same period. So I had all of these things just came out. Once. So I guess I was it.
That means you were smoking gun, to put it nicely. So what is your Stanley Aberuagba, firstborn of a retired general character? What was his motivation, purpose, and tactics in Among My Siblings and I? I know that TV series is still running, but what is the motivation of that particular character? What is his motivation? What is his purpose? And what tactics is he using to achieve those motivation and purpose?
My siblings and I is a family drama, and of course, where we have those siblings, they have siblings of 5, I'm the 6, but I'm the first actually of the 6. I have the siblings, I have the other siblings. I think for the character Stanley Aberuagba, it just shows a symbol of a brother, how an ideal brother should be. No matter how much you get angry with your siblings, they're still your own. You just know that whatever it is, come rain, come sun, whatever, it is still about my siblings. No matter how. So I think that is on purpose, Stanley Aberuagba in the drama, to ensure that whatever it is, the parents can always call and say, Stanley, come and see what James has done. And as a figure that is from Ghana, we have the other siblings there, they respect him a lot and all that. So it's just a typical brother of a family, you understand, who watches out for his younger ones, for his siblings, and of course maintains the principles of the family. He holds it in high esteem. And that talks about his wife. So many things his wife did, crazy things his wife did, but he just still did that. He knew that he had to still, whatever it is, hold up and make sure that he holds the family on. So I think that's the most important for him.
What do you refer to as mental health challenges faced by men in Battle Within, in which you played Kunle as a mirror of contemporary gender misunderstanding?
You know, the questions are so funny because like you've gone to watch the movie. I don't know. I mean, it's funny. Well, Kule, I think for him, the movie portrays someone who naturally, um, has a friend who is facing much of horrible things, and but when it comes out, it does like everything is fine, like everything is fine and all that. But Kona is someone that, I mean, for him, he's just an open person who feels, man has to just rule the world no matter what it is. It's the world, it's a bench board and all of that. So it's just to say to us that no matter what it is, what goes around comes around. What even the female, if they say they face challenges of abuse, domestic abuse, we have it too in the men. When you talk about having to say your woman beats you up at home. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you just keep it to yourself. You don't want to talk about it. So that's for me. That's just what Battle Within brought out.
But it does seem to reflect contemporary, do I call it, war of sexes in society today, where women claim that they are being maltreated by their husbands or their partners, and men don't seem to have a voice. What's your comment?
Yeah, well, thank God for Battle Within. It's like that because even when they bully the men at home, when the woman wants to report the situation, she reports it such that it's favorable to her. And when the men are listening, they don't just want to think otherwise. They forget that truly, men too can actually be domestically abused. And that's what Battle Within was able to push to us and to let us know that it is actually a gender thing. It's not just the man involved, and sometimes you have the woman to do the same for the man.
My fear is that until it gets to a point where a man actually dies, that's when society speaks up and say, this woman has gone too far. So,
Well, we have found out that it's a woman's world now. It's a woman's world now. They don't want to hear that you are raped, but they want to hear that you raped someone as a man. But we go there and say, they wonder, why are you raped? That kind of thing. So now it is even getting about, it's getting to the females' world now. You hear that you don't hit a woman. You hear that even when she calls for divorce, you have to, no matter what she does or who loses, you have to just share your belongings. So there's this law that's actually protecting the women right now in our own days, which is for me, it's fine. But we should not neglect the fact that men too can seriously domestically abuse.
so would you say the battle within has gone in some ways to address the issue, to address the imbalance?
Yes, reasonably. Reasonably. It just makes us understand that it is not what it says. It is not what it seems. If you think that the other party is doing well and you're just trying to compare yourself with them, meanwhile they come out, they do like everything is fine. Do you understand? But the moment you guys turn back, they begin to lash each other and all of that. But you think that they're doing well, so that's why it's fine for you to just be yourself. Be yourself. You guys should sort things out. Don't ever compare. Don't ever use another home as your own yardstick. Settle the situation, the issues that you have within you, and that is what is called battle within. Unfortunately, it's the friend did not know. He did not know. He didn't know that his friend was going through that. You understand? He never knew that his friend, who is that muscular and I mean, could be the one that is being molested by his woman. Do you understand? But if they had opened up, I'm sure that somehow they would have created a balance. But unfortunately, it doesn't go right. So he's been able to at least expose one to some measures of solutions to that.
That's a very brilliant. Thank you so much. That's a very brilliant answer. Your Soji boyfriend of Toyo Baby, Jennifer's friend character in Jennifer's Diary, contrasts Prince Adeoye in Royal Outlaw. Please, can you explain the differences between these characters, which you happily interpreted?
Oh, amazing, amazing. First thing first, I love the two characters. I love the two characters. Um, Soji, a cream proper boy, who just came in from UK, got to meet his old-time friend with Toyo Baby, and eventually started a relationship with her. You understand? Come on, proper guy. Who do you understand? But Royal Outlaw, that's Prince Adeoye, a very proud, prince who hates, who does not respect culture, who does not respect human feelings as well, rude to the core, aggressive. So they're two different characters, literally. And kudos to the writers, kudos to the directors, because it just made me play a different role entirely. But it's fine, it's fine. So that's just it.
So,
Both characters.
so do you think the Prince Adeoye in Royal Outlaw would have been able to resist the royal wife who enticed him or who seduced him? What do you think?
Are you talking about BABASEUN or you're talking about Prince Adeoye?
Both of them, what character would have best resist the queen or the royal wife?
Oh, that is deep. Because the royal wife too is very pretty, young, very young at heart. Like seriously. So well, I think it's just better done in a script. I think it's just better done in a script. So I'll leave my to church.
Well, I'm still talking to Prince BABASEUN FASERU. That's your
Yes.
name, I suppose. An actor, an educationist, a producer, on FILMTALK. So my next question would be, what is the thin line between stage and screen? If, for my siblings and I, a critic wrote, and I quote, Soji sounded memorized, except for more of his insult and despise for Jenifa. You've been a stage actor, you've been an on-screen actor, and somebody is saying, from my research, you memorized. Does it mean that on stage nobody could improvise as much as he could do or that person could do on screen? What's the big difference?
Okay. Thank you very much. Stage, naturally, of course, when you talk about the stage and you talk about screen, um, they're two different things, and they have different skills, even though they have some things in common as well. When you are on stage, you have to, I mean, stick to your script as much as you can. You can't afford to repeat what you have, to repeat your lines, because of the fact that you're doing it live. Nobody's cutting you, nobody's saying retake, nobody's saying please. When you're on stage. So it is more professional, it is more of exaggeration. Because when you talk about stage, you talk about exaggeration. And that's why when you laugh on stage, you laugh out. When you want to cry on stage, you cry. Because it's all about exaggeration. You can't do that on screen. On screen, it has to be moderated. Do you understand what I'm saying? And of course, your movement on stage, you have a free will to move on stage and display, and you make use of your hands and all that. But when it comes to the screen, you have to move according to your director of photography. That's your DOP. It tells you, okay, don't move this way, don't move this way, because they have to consider their own cameras. And sometimes it can be limitations to actors most times. Especially if they're just coming into the screen. You want to be like, can I just not like this? But you have to consider. So that some major differences when it comes to stage and when it comes to screen. So improvisation is you can use both. You can use improvisation on stage and of course on screen. But when you're using it on stage, you have to feel the energy of the person you're acting with. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes you want to just do back to back based on your script, but because of how flexible you can be on stage, you understand, you have that tendency of wanting to improvise, which is absolutely allowed depending on your director. Your director says, I want it that way, then it's fine. And the same thing's got to screen. You can improvise on the screen when you're there, and if your director likes it that way, he tells you, okay, let it fly. But not as easy as when you're talking about the stage. Because when you're on the stage, the director can't tell you, repeat what you said. I don't want it that way. You've already said it. You get it. So sometimes the screen is actually programmed. Let me put it that way. They want you to say it in a manner. They want you to deliver your lines in this way. They want, so sometimes it can be programmed. Do you understand? But it depends on how flexible you can adapt to your the dynamism of your director. You understand what I'm saying now? So if a critic comes and says, "Okay, Soji, okay, it sounds memorized." Well, you can say that. You can say that probably that is what the director actually, because it's a gentleman. He's a kind of a gentleman who doesn't talk unnecessarily. You understand what I'm saying? That's who Soji is. Because he's been out of the country for a while. Do you understand? So he's just a cool, calm, collected guy. Sure you get. Well, if it sounded that way, fine. But I'm sure my director was fine with it, and that was why I allowed it my that man.
I'm sure as somebody who has a stage experience, it helps you a lot on screen.
A lot, because you won't have problem with lines. You understand, and you have the most of the stage actors that we have who do screen as well. When they act, you understand, you know that this one is stage person, because the way he delivers his modulations is, you understand, you just know that this one has to be like, you feel the full energy from within, and that's stage. That's what stage will give you, and that's why I encourage people to do stage and now move into screen, because it helps you to balance it.
Explain Soji's character arc against Funke Akindele's character, which waited until they set up in episode 9 to react to abuse by Soji. I understand the Soji character is very abusive, but they had to wait until the 9th episode for Funke to react in a way. Why did it take so long? Does it have to do with keeping the story going on?
Well, that I cannot say. Oh, I have to go and ask the director, the writer. Maybe it's just for the story. But the truth is that for this character, Faji actually tried to condone Jenifa a long time. As in, it took a lot of time for him to just say, okay, let me just tolerate this Jenifa. Don't forget that Jenifa is a pain in the neck. She's a pain in the neck. I mean, for someone like Soji to now own up and keep abusing Jenifa, then you know that Jenifa is an overboard lady. Do you get it? So, well, maybe it was the director that felt, let me show so much of excesses of Jenifa before now having her to react. I don't know why it was like that's why they ended up putting episode 9. But that was the research we did anyway. That was a good research.
So, in terms of function and role, you would say that Jenifa actually drives Soji's character.
Yes, I would say that. And of course, not only Jenifa, I think Toyo Baby drives it more.
Really? Can you just oppose the two characters that drive him crazy and give us some in-depth explanation of their relationship?
Okay, the two characters that drive me crazy, Jenifa Zari.
Yeah, that drive just Soji.
Okay, well, if you're saying as a fan now or as a cast member?
As a cast member, as it rolls out on the screen.
Okay, so the two characters I'm crazy about Jennifer's Diary, right?
That drive you into either being nice or being overtly,
That is Jennifer and Toyo Baby. Those two characters actually, because Toyo Baby is Jennifer's very good friend, very good friend, and Jennifer has so much hold and grip on Toyo Baby because of their relationship. All right. So if Toyo Baby is thinking this way, Jennifer is like, no, don't go this way. So I'm always in the middle. But sometimes, because of the love Jennifer has soft spot for Soji actually. Do you understand? Because Justice Jodi is so much of a gentleman from a good home. You understand? So there's this soft spot she has for Soji, even though Soji does not really like it because of the fact that Jennifer is always going overboard, always poking her nose where she's not supposed to, always causing trouble everywhere, trying to prove, and Baby is just a very good, fine girl who just feels that, I mean, he's from a good home, and Phil sees a girl who is natural, who is real to the core. That's Jenifa. And feels, man, I just like this person. I like a person, and they just get along like that, and I like that. So those two characters are actually Funke and Jenifa. Oh, Sanji can never forget Jenifa actually.
Okay. Following your character arc or any other, would you say my siblings and I deserve more seasons on Mnet? If so, what is the bling bling? What is the bling bling that keeps the audience coming back to watch? What is the that's what they call it sometimes.
Well, first thing I will say that my siblings and I deserve more time, much more time, much more coverage on Mnet because it's a family drama that every member of the family connects to. Honestly, I mean, you find yourself in one character, Sha. You find yourself. Are you talking about Stanley? You have a family. You have a way. Stanley has a way of delivering his judgment. Do you understand? We have a way of imputing discipline in the children. Do you understand? Which so many families in Nigeria actually appreciate. They learn one or two things from every every episode in My Siblings and I. Are you talking about the comedy part? Where we have the driver, we have I mean, that on his own is a different ball game, as in, wow for everyone. Are you talking about the lesson, the bond that should be in a family? You want to know it, you have to go to My Siblings and I. See how things happen, see how brothers, sisters defend, see how defend one another, see how one becomes a snitch. The one that will run go and to tell Momsy that James did something, you understand? Momsy will call, look at the family politics. Look at someone who doesn't understand where to go as someone as a growing young adult. He's yet to get his vision. Today is a model. Tomorrow he wants to be a designer. Next tomorrow he wants to be a puppet caretaker. You have it there. My siblings and I. How he's able to channel his energy. How the siblings are able to help him to channel his energy. I mean, having to live with the principal parents as well. So it's just a full package. My siblings and I is a full package. You have your being there. If you're a steward in a home, you have your character there. If you're a child in the house, you have the character. If you're a mother, and that's why I think that they deserve more. And that's why I think that's where the bling bling comes in, as in the reality of the family, of the story. It's so real. As in, it's so real. You can feel it. That, man, this happened to my house. Just you can learn and you can. So I think it's just a fantastic story. It's fantastic.
Okay, now assume that this TV series was a feature-length movie. How would you like it to resolve in terms of leaving impact on the audience, especially the family, especially in these days where families don't seem to hold together again?
That's very deep. That's very deep. If it was a feature movie, I would have still, especially Stanley's family, because now Stanley is another family from the Aberuagba family because he's married. He has moved into his own home, so he has his own home. For me, I would say that well, because marriage is all about, I don't want to say for better for worse, but I want to say that it's all about living together, actually, existing together, coexistence. Do you understand? And that's why if I were to write that movie as a future movie, Stanley will always, forever be with Viviana Beraba, no matter how troublesome Vivian can be, or they can write her to be. I mean, I will write it so that family will still be together and they will love one another. Even though there are troubles in the family, they know that the wife, which is Vivian, is a troublemaker, but we will still, because she has a very sweet side too. She's nice, she's intelligent, she's ambitious. You know what I'm saying? It's just that she's gotten this rivalry from a sister-in-law, who is Stanley's younger sister, because they went to the same school. That's the only problem Vivian has. Every other thing about Vivian is solid. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I write it such that they will end up still married and happy eventually. And for my siblings, when I'm going to conclude that story, well, I'll say that Dave Dave will turn out to be an entertainer eventually, and he will succeed. James and James, I write this one that he will have a lot of issues because of his relationship with Samson and all of that. I will make him learn his lessons in a very hard way. But at the same time, I'll strive to see succeed eventually. And at the end of the day, my mother, that's my dad and mom, Mr. and Mrs. Aberuagba, I'll write this on that they have their grandchildren. And they have their own grandchildren, the CJ James's grandchildren, Imena's children. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that at the end of the day, my siblings and I still grow into another family of my siblings and I, into another family of my siblings and I. So everybody, so
Yeah, very brilliant, man. Thank you so much. Okay, my next question will be minus mincing words. What has been your learning curve experience among people like Patrick Doyle, a fine actor? You're so lucky. Fate is in love with you in such a way that Fate has been able to place you where you meet people that really have grown the industry, that are dynamic in the industry. So, what's your learning curve with people like that?
Patrick Doyle, I learned pure professionalism from him. There's someone who he's vast when it comes to languages. I love his knowledge of languages. He speaks them so well. He has a way of controlling his words, even if you want him to speak like a house man and all of that. And I think that's actually, I think the journalism he went into initially, I think he was a journalist at the time, really helped his use of words. So for me, I learned that from him, the professionalism of ensuring that you pronounce the right words the way you ought to pronounce it, and that calmness when it comes to you delivering your lines, there's this sort of, calmness when he's talking, when he's delivering. I'm like, now wow, this test you understand, and of course, I've had the opportunity to work with like you rightly said. I think it's just grace. I was able to work with Kepi Epiong. Kepi Epiong, that was a Nectar long time ago, long time on my early projects as well. I mean, fantastic guy, fantastic man. I mean, there are people that you work with, even if it's your first time, they see that you're a rookie, they make it comfortable. Kepi Epiong will say, "You're doing well," just with his very baritonic voice. "You're doing well. Don't worry. man. Kudos to people like that who encourage you and set while you're with them. They just want you to feel. And I mean, that I've learned as well. So when I'm on set, I see a new artist, a new actor. I just want you to feel comfortable around me. I just want you to feel like, see, we're colleagues. Let's do this, okay? I mean, I learned from Funke. I learned a lot from Funke too.
I was going to ask you about Funke. So go on.
Funke Akindele. Oh my God, she's loud. She's loaded. I learned a lot from her. I learned great. I mean, someone who is not lazy when it comes to thinking. Someone who is everything around her is an idea. Everything around her is a storytelling idea. That's Funke. If anything happens to her right now, she wants to tell a story about it, and she's going to tell it. Like, I mean, I like the fact that she's very hardworking. She's very hardworking. I mean, she can do back to back on points without dropping energy. I like flexibility working with her. I like flexibility. Okay, we tell that it is not Bible. It is not Bible, please. This flexibility. She has a way of just making those lines very comfortable with you. She comes and says, "Okay, no, this is how we're going to do it. Let's do it this way." Pam, 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 pam. You already have it. And it even sounds more natural. So I learned a lot. Well, I learned a lot from her. So she's and a working rate is something else. It's something else. So I mean, God bless them all, anyways.
Well, I usually, when I talk to my guests on FILMTALK, I'm just talking to the brilliant, very brilliant, very, very brilliant BABASEUN FASERU. You've been really impressed me. There's no doubt about the fact that you're a brilliant person, given what people have said about you and how you leap over SS2 and SS3 into campus. You're going to be that man. But let me ask you, what was it that Funke Akindele really recognized in your CV to instantly create a role in Jenifa's diary out of the blues for you?
That's, you see, I still don't know where you got. These are very secretive things. I don't know how you got them, but because I mean, like, how did you know I skipped SS2 and SS3? How did I Okay, anyways, yes. Funke, well, I was opportune to I met Funke Akindele the first time during Married but Living Single, and that was my first movie ever on screen. It was a great privilege when I met her. I even took a picture that day with her because I mean, there were people that we've been watching when we were in our village those days, and we've always wanted to just meet with them somehow. Do you get? So I worked with her the first time then, and after then, I'm not that opportunity. I have a director who called me to say, Papa, I want you to come and pick for a role here. There's an audition. So I went there. And I didn't know it was for Jennifer's Diary. So I went there, I did the audition and all of that. And I was called back. I was called back after a few days. Then I went for the final reading. And from there she just said she wanted to give me I'll be playing Soji, and the director is like, Soji, I like there's no in the script, like he said she's just working something out. She's just working something out in my mind, in her mind that over time she's gonna write something about Soji and all that. So I'm like, So when they called me and to come and resume, I just saw the Soji character, like, Toyo baby. And I've been watching Jennifer's Diary. I know that Toyo baby is a strong character in Jennifer's Diary. So I'm like, wow, what did Funke see in an upcoming? I mean, in an upcoming to give him such a heavy role. Because for me, that role was heavy at that time. So, because when you talk about Jennifer, you talk about Soji. When you talk about Jennifer, you talk about Toyo Baby. Do you understand? So for me to now work directly with Toyo Baby as a boyfriend, it means that I have more airtime. It means that I'm in short time. It means that I'm getting fundamental with the story. You get my point, which I'm so appreciative of. I'm so appreciative of. So I think it's only Funke that will be able to tell why she decided to do that, to just give me such a heavy role at such an early stage of my career.
Well, my conclusion, my view is that nobody would miss your brilliance, my brother. So I'm talking to you now. If I had a movie, I would start immediately. Okay. So, how does your manners and conduct at Arts Academy reflect your wholesome principle about life and profession? When I saw that company name, Manners and Conduct, it quickly dawned on me that this is about what's your manner on stage, what's your conduct in life, So how does that interpret your principles about life and profession?
Yes. Thank you. Manners and conduct, Arts Academy was actually born out of a passion because I was an active teacher. Even though I'm passive now because I don't longer sit in class, just go to schools to teach. I teach drama and public speaking in schools, and I sometimes dance as well. But when the company came into being, it was born out of the fact that I went as a teacher, as an SS1 and SS2 teacher, SS3 teacher. I dealt more with teenagers, and I understood their growing capacity. You understand? I know so many of them, especially in Lagos State. I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in Lagos. I grew up in my hometown, and I know that there's some basic, fundamental manners that you just have to observe. As a village boy. But I didn't see that here in the urban, the city, as a teacher. So that just gave me, man. Okay, I want to start something in arts. I want to, because as a teacher, I stayed several places for my school, and I was able to build out to at least identify some young actors, and I was able to push some passion into them, let them know that they can succeed even as actors. So when I left the acting teaching, I decided to start something. an art academy. And what is the art academy going to be? We're going to be teaching public speaking. We're going to be teaching drama, strictly for teenagers. So and I said, okay, now if I'm bringing all of this together, what's going to be my niche? My niche is going to be manners and conduct. So as a teenager, you're coming to my arts academy. I don't want you on raster. I don't want you on your dreads. No, I don't want you sagging to my school or to my class as an arts person. That idea of that, because I'm creative, it means I have to dress, somehow. You have to dress so noticeable. I didn't want that because I understood that was a major concern for young teenagers in the secondary school. So that was where I brought that name from. Okay, manners and conduct arts academy. And that we've been able to do, even as a professional, as an actor. My people that have worked with me, they know my manners are set. They're on point. I don't joke with them. I get to school. I get to my set. I don't ever come late. I don't ever, even as a teacher. I never went to school late as a teacher. I don't just want to start blowing all those chocolates, but that has been the principle. So it's rubbed off on so many of my achievements, and one of the reasons why I want to be able to attain the award I got, that's best new actor, when people voted for me, those that I've worked with. First of all, this guy has got a lot to deliver, a lot to give this industry, based on his professionalism, his conduct, even as a professional actor, and that's where it all came from. So it's had a lot of effect on my work, on my business, my personal, and of course on the students that I have.
I'm wondering, it's a long time I heard this sort of thing from an adult, I'm telling you, because let me tell you something. Many adults, lots of adults behave like the ones that you don't want to have around you. I'm telling you. I know people who are 40 years, they still behave like they're in motor parks, and when you try to tell them this is not good for the growth of an average person, they're like, who are you? So when I hear somebody who lives in Lagos, forgetting the fact that you were from a village, I'm really impressed that somebody like you, Elevation, could think of that sort of thing to orientate young people to behave well. Because, when we were growing up, my brother, there was discipline. And the greatest problem with putting families together, holding them together, is the fact that children do not learn anything, any civic behavior from their parents. So to have somebody like you as an artist, to have that as if at the front burner of your life is very impressive. But my problem would be, how far can you go? Why is it that corporate entities do not recognize what you've done? Because to me, I'm seeing a situation where you probably should have money to do a series called Manners and Conduct. You know why I said that? Because if you look at soaps, foreign soaps that are being watched by Nigerian housewives, that go on to impact on their children, that go on to impact on their homes, these things are ruining families. You understand? They're ruining homes. They are devaluing family values and jeopardizing family unity. Because whether you like it or not, when you have well-behaved children in families, well-behaved adults, they stick together. You understand? Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you care. I'm So, what was the inspiration behind Pump with Desire or Playing with Dead?
The use of recreational drug and alcoholism in our youth is fast destroying them.
My twin brother, he's in a precarious situation. The doctors diagnosed inflammation of the heart muscles.
Look, I know exactly what's going on. I've been trying really hard to make sure that the agency moves on, and you're trying at every point to sabotage me.
Drug is destroying our nation.
But I brought my son to this school, clean, at the age of 11. Now he is 16. And then you expelled him and sent him back to me as a drug user.
Kó gba àwọn èèyàn wa láyè kó wọnú ọgbà.
My movie. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first project. My first project in 2018. Ah,
Okay.
was my first, and I thank God for the success of it. Well, Pumped with Desire, Playing with Death. It talks about drugs. Our teenagers, our young adults. I mean, 3 years ago, when we started hearing about, is it tramadol, um, this cough syrup, black mamba, it became so explosive at some point, and that gave me that inspiration. Like I said, as a teacher, I have a lot. I've learned a lot from my students. As the environment. I know that most of them are so ambitious, and because of the social media, some of them have actually started, going into drugs and all of them. So I just talked to myself. I said, I wanted to do a movie. What should I do a movie about that will capture everything that is in my mind? I said, let me write about drugs. So I went to go and meet my director, and my director came up with something. That's the and he said, okay, fine. So eventually we looked at the name. We said, pumped with desire. You know that when you take drugs, you're pumping it with desire. You're smoking with desire. You're with desire. You're having the pleasure, But eventually you are playing with death. So that's where pumped with desire, playing with death came in. So we just WD and we just made it a title. So if you want to know what it is, they will tell you pumped with desire. You can say pumping with desire and you're playing with death. So remember, as you're pumping those drugs, as you're using those drugs, and you think you're actually enjoying it, all right, you're actually playing with your death. And that kind of death will not tell you when it's coming. It won't give you an opportunity to go to the hospital. It comes, and that's it. So when we got that title, I was so excited about it. I would come up with that story, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. So that's where the story, the
Let me
title.
give you let me give you one advice. You see, when in music, in fact, in media, arts, and entertainment, there are what are called properties. Properties are you take titles like that, print on T-shirts, make toys out of them, do all kinds of things that mementos that somebody can pick and remember, pump with desire, playing with death. So my advice to you, my brother, is go and make more money with that title.
Thank you. I'll do that. I really do.
Yeah. First of all, start with T-shirts. You can take a dialogue from the movie and print it behind, so that when the person sees "Pump with Desire," he turns around and see behind you and see the quotes. You're done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, FASERU. It's been so nice talking to you. Thank you so much. Are you doing a production now?
Yes, I'm actually doing I have two productions I'm doing by January 17th. I'm preparing, I'm overly prepared for that. That's on Sunday. We're doing back to back. So I'm doing 17th. Then the following Sunday as well, I'm doing another one. There are two projects I'm doing presently, to the glory of God.
Would you have the time to come talk to me again and focus on those projects? Just focus on those projects. Forget about your life history. Well, because I know, talking to you, I know that you are so experienced with stage and on screen, and there's a thin line between the two. And I believe that the more you talk, the more you can educate a lot of people out there. You understand? So if you don't mind, I'll put a call to you. If I remember, or if you remember, you can put a call to me. We fix a day and just have another 1 hour and just focus on those projects, the conception, the emanation, and the finalities of those projects, please.
That will be fine. My pleasure.
Okay.
My pleasure.
I've been talking to the brilliant public speaker, actor, educationist, BABASEUN, FASERU, aka Amani. Thank you so much for coming to FILMTALK.
Yes,
Yeah, so that was FILMTALK. You can watch FILMTALK on www.filmlab.ng/FILMTALK. Check out our blog, forum, and we're on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. God
All
bless
right.
you.